guys, hey guys, like we said, come up to the front, we encourage it. It's been a while since we played, so we could use that energy from you guys. Sing along, got a bunch of songs we've done before. Clap, jump, dance. that we can come here and we can freely sing to you without persecution, because there's places in this world, guys, that there's persecution and hurt and pain that you can't even fathom. Break it down for just a second, guys. So God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the sun. We thank you for the breath in our lungs, Lord. Let us have a fun day today. Let everything we do be pleasing to you. Keep us all safe as the buses go out today, God. And it's your mighty name we pray. Amen.
I want to begin with a little story. It's the story of this little boy who minded his business for the most part, was always by himself, had a couple of friends. And one day while he was in school, lining up to be dismissed, he got a tap on his shoulder. And he turns around and there's a kid standing behind him. I want you to remember this name by the name of Lance. Now Lance was an interesting looking kid. He had a scar on his face. And I say that for a reason, you'll see in a minute. And as the kid turned around to look at Lance, Lance looked at him and told him, "I'm gonna get you after class." Now this little boy did not know what he did, and he starts to panic. His teacher is standing there, but he doesn't tell his teacher anything. The only thing he's looking at is that door. Because as soon as the bell rings, he's going to become the fastest little boy in the class. And the bell rang and he ran out of that door, ran down those stairs, and just kept running until he got home. He didn't tell anyone. The next day he went back to school, and again Lance caught him in the schoolyard. And for no apparent reason just began to flick him in the back of his ear, continually. So this kid just started saying, if I can just hide, if I can just get away from Lance, he won't find me, he won't bother me. The problem is he had class with Lance. And every day, when the line was called to line up, this little boy would get the tap on his shoulder. And every day was told, "I'm going to get you in class." He finally tells the teacher. The teacher keeps the little boy after class so that all the other students can be dismissed and go home, and the little boy can go and walk home without the trouble of Lance. Little boy is dismissed, he goes down the stairs, he looks out of the little glass windows, much like those, and he sees Lance. He has to make a quick decision. Lance is there. I need to run that way. And so he bursts out the door and almost in slow motion just starts running as Lance is chasing him. And chases him all the way home. Until he gets to his neighborhood, the little boy is safe. Well, what the little boy didn't know is that Lance lived in the same neighborhood as him. He just never saw him before. And one day the little boy was asked by his mother, "Can you please go to the store for me?" And mom gave him the money, and he goes downstairs and he goes to the store, and as he's about to turn the corner, the store is there. He turns the corner and he bumps right into Lance, who grabs his money, and the little boy is fighting back to keep his mother's money. Lance grabs his shirt and pulls it over this little boy's head. And the little boy starts to scream and try to get out of this situation. And all of a sudden, to his rescue, come these older men, all these older men come and grab Lance off of the little boy, and Lance's older brother shows up. And the little boy knows Lance's older brother, but he didn't know it was Lance's brother. So Lance's older brother comes and grabs Lance by the ear and drags him all the way to his house. To make a long story shorter, it never stopped until one day the little boy had a visit from his female cousin, who was a teenager. And the little boy expressed to her, "I'm afraid to go to school." And the female cousin said, "Why are you afraid to go to school?" And he explained the situation. And she said, "What does he look like? Who is he? You want me to go talk to him? You want me to?" I said, "I don't want any trouble." He said, "I don't want any trouble." And so she goes and she talks to Lance. The little boy stayed home. Lance never bothered the little boy again. Guys, that little boy was me. So I understand the background of somebody who gets you to the point where you don't even want to go to school because you're scared. And so today I just want to talk to you really brief over the next couple of minutes on the subject, the thin line between teasing and bullying. There's a very thin line between that. Before we begin, I want to read something from the Bible out of the book of James. And it says this: "If we look at the ships on the sea, although they are so big and they are driven by fierce winds, they are turned by a very small rudder wherever the pilot wants it to go. In the same way, the tongue is a little member of the body, but it boasts great things. It's important to see how just a little spark can set off a great forest fire." Guys, it's the little things many times that do the most damage. And so this little muscle in our mouth called the tongue, it can do one of two things. It can either help somebody or it can hurt somebody. And I trust that we're using our words to help people and not to hurt people. As a teacher, obviously, I wanted to get into some of the definitions. So what is the definition? Somebody would say, well, teasing is not the same as bullying. Maybe. Let's see. Let's see what it says. Definition of teasing, it says this: teasing is intended to provoke or make fun of someone in a playful way. Now, I know we tease each other, we play with each other. But there are times where we can go seriously a little over that line when it comes to teasing. And we have to be very careful that we don't go over that line. Well then, if that's the definition of teasing, what's the definition of bullying? Is the definition: to seek to harm or intimidate or make someone do something that they don't want to do simply because you perceive that they are weak. Here's what a bully will do. A bully will go after someone who they know cannot defend themselves or do not want to defend themselves. Let me give you an example. There are two kids. One of the kids wants to be cool. He wants to fit in. He wants to belong, and we all know those kids. And he'll do anything to belong. And so he finds a group of kids who are what he considers the cool kids. So he goes up to them, and because he wants to fit in so bad, they'll tell him, "Hey, see that kid over there? Why don't you go and just slap him in the back of the head? It'll be funny. It's a little harmless joke." And this kid will respond by saying, "If I do that, will you guys be my friend?" That's how far we can take it. Because they want to fit in so bad, they'll do anything to fit in. So by both of these definitions, bullying can begin with teasing, but it can end up leading a person to feel seriously unwanted, simply because they just want to fit in. Most people that are bullies have also been bullied. If we saw the video, we saw that the girl who was doing the bullying did not live in a nice place. But she didn't want anybody to know that. And the girl that was being bullied actually brought her little doll. And so, most people that are bullies have been bullied or have gone through a very difficult time in their own life. Here's what the bully does. The bully does a couple of things. They want to draw attention off of themselves. If I can draw attention off of me, remember Lance, he had a scar on his face. And what I didn't realize later is that there were kids in the school who were making fun of Lance. So what Lance had to do was get the attention off of himself. If I can get you before you get me, I'm good. If I can get them to laugh at you and not laugh at me, I'll never be the target of the bully. So they draw attention off of themselves. The second thing, they're going to find somebody who seems shy and cannot really defend themselves. They're quiet. Now this can be both verbal abuse, what you say, and sometimes it can be physical. It can be somebody flicking your ear. It could be somebody pulling your arm. It could be somebody, walking by and pushing you in line. It can be both of those things. So one thing that is never okay is to make someone feel bad because of their own personal convictions. Because somebody has a conviction, because somebody stands up for something, it's not okay to make them feel bad for what they choose to stand up for. So let's say a student talks different, or he dresses different, or they look different. It's never okay to make them feel like the oddball out. That's not cool to do. Because guys, here's the reality. We all have stuff that bother us about ourselves. Every human being does. And nobody likes to be the object of somebody pointing the finger and making fun. And so when we talk about bullying, you've heard this word before. This is the word, we call it, it's the word activist or activism. It means, let me just give you the definition of an activist. So an activist is someone that takes action in favor of a cause to bring change. And so, why am I bringing up that term? Because I want to take you to this place in the Middle East very quickly. And I want to take you to this place called the 1040 window. We're talking about bullying. But if you think that bullying only happens in schools and in high schools, I want to take you somewhere to show you the level of what bullying can look like. There's this group in the Middle East, and they're an organization that I don't belong to their church or anything. I just follow what they do. And they're known as the voice of the martyrs. A martyr is somebody that is willing to give up his life for what he believes in. Most of the time it's faith. And so the voice of the martyrs are activists, and they are activists for one thing. They are activists for what's known as the persecuted church. Now there are churches in this window called the 1040 window. And they are being bullied by people in that window, in that area of the world, simply because they follow Jesus. Now, when I'm talking about bullying, I'm not talking about they're simply just getting flicked in their ear. I'm talking about they're getting put in jail, and even in many cases, they are losing their life because of their conviction. And so we can see bullying just doesn't happen in schools, it happens around the world by adults. And so this is something that we just simply can't ignore. So I would say it would be important to become an activist against bullying. And what does that mean? Look, if you see someone doing something to someone else that you know they shouldn't be doing, it's important to not just stay quiet. It's important to say something. When you ignore what's happening to another child, that means you're saying that's okay to do. And it's not okay to do. And I know some of you have been really good at going to teachers and telling them, this is happening, and I need some help. I need this to stop. And that's what we want to do. We want to be an activist against this thing called bullying. If we're truly a community, we call ourselves Solid Rock Community School. If we're a community, then what we're going to do is we're going to back each other up. We're going to stand up for each other. We're going to help each other. And so we need each other even if we do things in the name of teasing. But that's not bullying, Dr. D, that's just teasing. If you cross that line, and you know when you've crossed that line, well, how do I know when I crossed that line? When the other person starts to cry, starts to feel uncomfortable, you've crossed that line. And that's important to stay on this side of the line. Guys, here's a fact as a school. We need each other. We love you, and here's what I want you to know. We have your back. As the staff, the teacher, we have your back. But we can't be everywhere at one time, so we need you to also stand up and be an activist, from the smallest to the oldest, and say something if you see something that's not right. So we started with a video that dealt with what it looked like to be bullied. I felt really bad for that young lady. It brought back a lot of memories for me. But we want to end chapel today with a little short 1-minute video of what it looks like to do the opposite and help instead of hurt.